Heidi ho, guys, and welcome aboard. It is Monday, the 31st of August, and it's a bank holiday in the UK, and something else. I can't remember what. It's Monday. That's right, it's Monday. So therefore, I'm not 100% on board with being in trading mode this morning, if it's morning in your place, or this evening if it's evening in your place. That said, I do have a few thoughts that I want to share with you in the upcoming few days that I think are particularly tradable. In particular, a couple of trades that we are already in that I'm looking to scale into, Euro Pound and Pound Kiwi in particular. But I do have a bit of a watch list as well, so we'll go through that as we get into the show. And of course, we'll be having a look at, hi John, hi Gary, hi everybody. Yeah, last day of the month. It's never a great, well, sometimes it is, you know. In fact, Ash has got a bit of a thing about the last day of the month or the last week of the month. I'm not sure how his last week went last week, because he was having a little bit of a time off. He's up in the mountains somewhere, and he'll probably give us a little bit of a chat about that when he gets in the room as well. Bit of an interesting day, I've got to say, in terms of whether I want to trade or whether I feel like I should trade. And that's kind of, you know, a very psychological barrier at times. If you feel like you shouldn't be trading, then perhaps that is very much exactly what you should be doing. That said, again, if I see those setups that I've been looking for, I will definitely look to take advantage of them. Let's share them with you now, shall we? Rather than dilly-dally and promise things that maybe we can't deliver if we forget about them and get chatting about other things. So what do I need to go to? This screen here, perhaps, yes. And I'll share that with you guys. And that is the screen of which I speak. It is Pound Kiwi. Now, Pound Kiwi, for the longest time, we have been in fact, where did we get in? On this bar here. That is on the 21st of July. It is now the 31st of August. My God, how much is this costing in swaps? I don't think I'll have a look. Might be interesting. But the whole point of the exercise was always going to be that we were in this for a long, long time, or as long as we can be in the trade, right? And it was all about a market structure that I saw, which was this ascending channel that goes back to, or it has its derivation back in 2016. And potentially, for me, is looking at, how far into the future am I looking? Yeah, kind of the end of the year. And I think even that's probably a little bit optimistic, to be fair, but stranger things have happened. And with the COVID situation, with the Brexit situation, who knows what's going to happen next. And I've got to tell you, I don't, but I wish I did, and I wish I had tomorrow's paper. That'd be good, and all the rest of it. But I can only trust what I see in front of my eyes, and that is a market structure that tells me that this at some stage is going to the top of this channel, or, of course, if it breaks down, then that becomes a non-event. But in the meantime, that target area is what I had firmly in mind when we got into this trade. We're now safe in the trade. We've taken a couple of profits, and we've got our stops at entry. What we now seek to do is increase the rewards of this particular situation if we are to get to that level. And this was always going to be on a steep retracement, or a retracement of some kind. Now, I guess best level that I can point out to you in terms of a retracement and where we would like to get in is still a little bit lower. And it's probably there, which incidentally or coincidentally, either one, is this month's monthly pivot. So I'm probably of the mind that we come down to here and look for our scale in at that point. Do I want to miss the opportunity that may well present itself sooner than that, which of course is the current level that we're on? And I've got a little bar here that does tweak my attention. I'm not sure if it tweaks my attention enough to trade it, but I'll have a good look at this tomorrow. As I said, I'm probably keeping my powder dry today, but this is interesting on the daily chart. And if it still looks like that tomorrow morning, and the reason I don't want to trade it now is because the lack of liquidity in the market, or indeed volume in the market today, or potential, and I've got to say there is a bit of movement about, but the potential for this to just go quiet is very, very strong, given that we are in a UK bank holiday. That doesn't mean, of course, that the dudes in America are going to be in the same vein. They should all turn up to work today, unless Donald's told them to have a day off. I've got no idea, really, to be honest, but they should be at work, and perhaps we can see something going on in the US session, which of course kicks off in around about 53 minutes from now. So that said, going back to my point, the reason I don't want to trade this right now is its potential for weird things to happen when we've got a low liquidity day is that we can just go straight into the top of this candle and then bounce straight back off the weekly pivot and go short, which is, of course, my first instinct anyway, that price is going to come to here before it goes that way. So tomorrow, if this is still the case and we do get some form of normality around, then I may look to trade that bar. We shall see exactly what happens in the meantime. The other one that I'm dead set keen to scale back into is euro pound. We're nowhere near as lucrative on euro pound as we are on pound kiwi, because we've only been in it for, well, a shorter period of time. What was the last time I got into this? I've traded this 2 or 3 times. I think it was that bar. Where's the entry level? Here, that bar there. That's the last time we got into this, and we had to survive, I've got to say, a little bit of a rough ride, and finally we've broken through the bottom of that range. And of course, that is a confirmation, if you like, of the breakdown of the ascending channel, which took the longest time to actually get into gear. Now, we're not there yet, of course, but I do like the scenario that we've got before us, and that is that we've got a break of this trend line here. And of course, we're now retesting that with vigor, which coincides with the weekly pivot, which has just been formed, of course, as it is Monday. So again, I'm thinking tomorrow morning, if this looks similar to what I'm seeing at the moment, this may well be a good opportunity for me to scale into this as well. Potential profit on this is, again, not as lucrative as the pound kiwi, but it's not too dusty, I've got to say. I can't remember how much we risked on this. It wasn't much, about 70 pips or 80 pips or something like that. And, you know, there's a potential 600 odd available to us even from where we are now. So if we can get another, let's say, 50 pips of risk or something like that, there's a good chunk of potential profit that's available on that euro pound. Apart from those two pairs, I do have a few on my watch list for the week. And they begin, well, euro pound is certainly in that bunch as well, because I think that's a very good opportunity to get into this if you're not in it already. And the daily bar tomorrow, well, today's daily bar will probably tell the story as if I do scale into this or not. We shall see. But there's a couple more on my list. Euro Swissy is top of those, and for the reason, if only, and this will change tomorrow, that we've been unable to close below the monthly pivot for the entire month of August. I don't see that changing anytime soon, apart from the fact that the monthly pivot will move tomorrow morning, of course. So I'm actually looking to trade this back to the top of this range. Thereafter, I'm not that interested, I've got to say, because there is obviously a resistance level that we would have to jump through. And then, of course, we've got another resistance level here with this high that was created back in June. Bigger picture is very, very interesting. As you can see, back in 2015, we had that big decoupling of this pair. And man, what a candle that was. The day I'll certainly never forget. And I had no involvement, thank goodness. Well, it'd been all right if you're on the downside, but that was certainly a day that not too many of us who were trading at the time will ever forget. In fact, none of us, I don't think, will ever forget that. But if you have a look at this chart, and disregard that if you like, because really it's very, very tough to think that we're going down there anytime soon. Again, stranger things have happened. But if you look at the structure that we've got apart from that, and I don't really know how to show it to you without reducing some candles, it's not just not going to happen. I'll have to go back to there, and you'll have to just bear with me, I suppose. You can see that we have, in fact, been in a range since that time. The bottom of it's a little bit murky, I've got to say. I'll call it there. So two things to note here. I'll get rid of that level there. But where price currently is, you can see the rejection bar that we've had of the level that's just above there, which again is a murky little price, but it's strong support through here, all through pretty much the second half of 2019. And over here, you can see that price just couldn't get away from that level any time. And really, we've just been oscillating above, below, etc., etc. And now we're back to that level, broken it again, retested it again. That's a pretty bearish sign as far as I'm concerned. But that said, we're back inside this range, which is depicted by the rectangle. So crucial level is this, what is it, 108.70, I think is that red line. Crucial here as to what happens next. I'm of the opinion that we will probably have another crack at it. And if that's the case, then that's going to go with my bias, my intraday bias or short-term bias, which of course is to trade it to the top of this range, as I said before. Thereafter, it will depend entirely on that line that we just had a look at on the bigger picture. So that's the current thought process from me, and that's what I'll be looking to trade this week, looking to trade it straight up to that level. To that level. I don't think I'll even leave anything open for that area. I'll get everything off the table if we get to this WR3 level and the top of my rectangle. Then it's dependent on what happens next as to what I will do. But Euro Swissy is long, but only in the short term. Euro Yen is another that's on my list. And you might think that I've got exactly the same opinion on that because we're trading the euro versus risk-off currencies. And you would think I'm looking to go the same way. Well, the truth is I am, but I'm looking to go short earlier on the yen than I would be on the Swissy, or the euro versus the Swissy, euro versus the yen. The tail of the tape on this one is potentially coming up very soon because we've got a very clear double top here on euro yen. We have also got a pretty substantial rally on our hands since Friday sell-off. Yeah, that's Friday. and we've bounced off last week's weekly pivot and haven't looked back thus far. Interestingly, in a illiquid day or a low volume day, we have put on a fair bit of a hike on euro yen today. So it looks like the yen is out of favor, certainly on the euro's behalf, but the level that we're currently at is very, very interesting to me. And if I were to see a pullback here, even on this bar, given that I've said I don't want to trade today, this would look very much like a potential lower high to me. We've got a bearish engulfing bar, kind of a bearish engulfing bar. I wouldn't really qualify it as one, but that's forming the double top. So a lower high here is definitely going to get me interested in trading this short. If it happens on the daily chart tomorrow, I'd be far more interested, again, because we have an illiquid situation today. Well, that said, we're moving pretty crazily. But I'm not going to get a lower high here because I don't want an instant bar. I want something that takes time to get up to here, as it has probably on the smaller time frame. So it's going to be difficult to trade that tomorrow, I've got to say, and it may have to wait until Wednesday, Thursday before we actually get the setup. Of course, if the bulls continue to rally as they are currently, they may well invalidate this double top that's sitting there. I don't really see that without a fight, I've got to say, because of the strength of this level here. It's been strong support, it's been strong resistance. I don't see why it would just give way in a heartbeat, and I don't expect that that will be the case. So short bias based on that double top sitting on that resistance area that is about 126.70 or thereabouts. So that's where I'm at on that one. And the final one is something that I have been fighting against, I suppose, for, well, weeks, and that is trading against the US dollar, or with the US dollar in the equation. Now, why can't I find my pound US dollar chart? That's an interest. There it is. And the reason for that is I've been following the dollar index chart for just the longest time and expecting a pullback. I'll show you that chart, those of you who are not aware of it. I think I've got one here somewhere. Yep. Coming up. It's just building, guys. Which generally means that it's going to take about a minute and a half. So I'll just delay that until it does build. But I've been following the dollar index for months now, and expecting the sell-off that we've seen on the dollar to at least pause, but it's really not done that too much since it did begin its big sell-off, and that has continued. And today it's doing exactly the same thing. Let me bring that chart up for you. And new share. There we go. So we're looking at, we don't really want to look at that chart because it is too small a time frame, but that shows you what's been happening today. What are we on? 15-minute time frame. That doesn't mean anything to me. Let's look at the daily chart. And the daily chart is, I'll get rid of I'll get used to this trading view one day. I don't even know how to get rid of these things, so I won't bother. You can see we're at a support level on this chart anyway. If I go to the monthly chart, you can see the level far clearer, because it has been strong support through here, support through here. Don't really see a resistance area on that particular. It's kind of missed the resistance, although there it is. You can see it's been resistance here in the past, but you've got to go back to 2005 to find it. That's a fair hike. That's kind of 15 years ago, if my maths are still correct. And this again is probably the, I don't know, 5th time that I've been waiting for this trend line to actually have a retest, and it just doesn't happen. That looks like it's pulled back to that level, but that's where it all began. And there's nothing. Why does it keep doing that? Doesn't want to go there, does it? Likes that. Okay, so it hasn't pulled back to there, and that's my whole point. I see a level around about 95, which is just in there. You can see these lows here, highs through here, lows through here, and highs through there as well. And if I'm looking for this to pull back, that's where I'm looking for it to pull back to that level there. So it's got to hurry up if it's going to do it in confluence with this trend line. That's why I find it very, very difficult to trust the US dollar at the moment. I think it's well overdue. It's oversold, in my humble opinion. So it's at a support level. What do you think when that happens? You think that you're going to potentially see a bounce, and it hasn't yet come. It's as simple as that. So I'm still on tenterhooks with that. Well, not really, but I've still got little doubts about trading against the US dollar. So pound US dollar long doesn't seem to be the best scenario to me. However, it does seem to be the best scenario that I'm seeing at the moment, because I don't think the Kiwi can sustain its rally. I'm pretty much on the same board with the Aussie dollar, but we've got an interest rate announcement on the Aussie dollar tomorrow, so that kind of takes that out of the equation until tomorrow or till after that announcement. So it's kind of pound versus the US dollar, if the US dollar is to break that support level. Now, this massive break, and it doesn't matter what trend line you use here, you can throw a trend line through here, you can throw a trend line through here, and every single time I do that, I see a massive breakout. And I know it's the same on the other pairs, and it's more a dollar thing than it is a pound thing. But the pound's also having a pretty good run against the other currencies. It has had a little bit of a pullback, that's true, but it has had a pretty good run against the other currencies. So I'm a little bit interested to see what happens here. And of course, a pullback to these pivots is pretty much what I have in my mind, a pullback to this area here. I don't know that I'll be loading up on this because of what I've just said about the US dollar, but I do see that the strength in this is very, very powerful. Big bullish engulfing bar. It's clear double bottom, higher highs and higher lows, and that continues to be the case. I think a pullback here gets me interested. Such is the strength of that breakout that we saw. It's not only the horizontal level, and it's still just peaked above the opens and closes of these bars, but it's the trend lines as well. And as I said, every trend line I put on my chart shows that very, very strong break. So pound US dollar is a potential, or certainly on my watch list, but I'm also watching the dollar index very, very closely. And if there is a sign of a retracement, then I'll probably be putting this one in the bag as well and keeping it for another day. I'm just going to have a look at, and for some weird and wonderful reason, just let me have a look at YouTube again, because it wasn't showing that. I can't see.
We are on, mate.
Oh, there you are. Hello, mate.
Oh, I've been here ages.
I'm sure you have. And I'm still on the dollar index chart, and I shouldn't be, by the looks of things.
No, you're on the pound Kiwi.
Oh, okay. According to YouTube, I'm not. I must be on.
That...
I must be lagging. I know. Okay, I've got pound US dollar.
Pound US dollar, sorry, yeah.
On the weekly chart. So I've completely ignored anybody who's been speaking to me. Head and shoulders where, LT? I don't know when you asked that question, mate. Sorry. If you could just head and shoulders me again on what pair, because I've looked at about 4 or 5 of them. I'd be only too happy to comment on that for you. Euro Swissy. Okay, that was a while back. Daily chart. Okay, weekly chart. 4-hour chart. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. Monthly chart. Is this your head? Are these your shoulders? It's pretty drawn out one. That's like 6 years, 5 years, 5.5 years. That's a big one. I've got to say, I don't think I've ever looked at a chart and said that over such a period of time. But I see where you're coming from. I just don't know that I would trust it, mate. Again, I think the key level is the one, the red line, without any question, for me anyway. And that big rejection of that level there, 2 months ago, nearly 3 now, is very, very interesting. But again, this is telling me it's going long before it goes short because of the monthly pivot. It's been just so solid the entire month, and I don't expect that's going to change with 1 day to go. Has just rejected it every single time it's come to that level. So the horizontal level has to be strong, and therefore a higher low here gets me interested. Back to this level where we had that rejection and that high test bar that I just showed you on the monthly chart. That's where that will be tested, and I can't see that not happening, frankly. So this to me is a long to get short at some stage, or a long to see what happens at that level, because if it gets back above that level, then this bigger picture comes back into play, and a break and retest there gets me interested going the other way. So this bar's telling, and I do think we'll get another test of that level. And if we do, I'll have to wait and make a decision. Gee, it's a tough currency to trade as well. A lot of people just make the cross with their fingers when they see this Euro Swissy. Anyway, I've rattled on quite enough, I suppose. Ash, what are we doing?
Well, we're going to be just having a look at some of these monthly bars again, I think, just to see what opportunities there are, and also I think we need to have a look at some of what could turn the market, because really there's not a whole bunch of evidence that suggests that we should be doing anything but continuing with the current direction. But we know what the end of the month does, and the start of a new month can do. So, what could bring in the volatility into this market to actually drive us in the opposite direction? So we're going to discuss that a little bit as well, and discuss what we would do if that volatility actually did pick up, because we need it. There's no doubt about it. If we're going to make some decent money out of this market now, we're probably going to need it. Maybe decent and a bit safer to a degree as well. It looks incredibly safe right now, but things are at pretty lofty levels, so not that safe in many respects. So a general look at the market, mate, and looking at some of these end of month bars as well, just to kind of see what it might be suggesting from this point on, moving into September.
Okay, I think I've just given away all my trade secrets for what I'm watching this week in the last half hour, so I'll probably be looking somewhere else outside of that, but I'll recap it very quickly. I've just given you total control, mate, so you can play us in whenever you're ready.
Oh, fantastic stuff.
And stop the stream. Those of you who've been in the stream, not many of us today, and I understand that it is a public or a bank holiday, but thanks for your company. We'll catch up with you a little bit later.
Brilliant stuff. Okay, so you've stopped that stream, and let's start.
No.
This.
You're in control, not me.
Oh, I'm in control. How do I do that then? I've never done this bit.
You just go into the control panel thing and click on more. Yep.
Stop live stream.
That's the one.